Here we are, Iron Age episode 5. Iron Age. God damn it.
I want to go, okay? Okay, 3, 2, 1, action.
Hey guys, what's going on? Here we are, Iron Age Radio episode 5. We have an extremely special episode for you guys today. Why so special, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. We are going to go into a deep dive into the Jeff Nippard, Mike Van Wyck debacle. No, I'm just kidding. Nobody gives a shit about that. But everyone's got an opinion on it, so whatever. The reason this episode is so special is we sat down and chatted via Zoom with one of the very, very best strength athletes going today in the world, Sam Belliveau. She is running Strongman Corp Canada. She's running her own gym. She's one of the most successful strong women going in the game today. She's one of the very best Canadian strong women to ever do it. And she took some time out of her busy schedule to sit and chat with us. And I think that people will be very, if you don't know Sam or Max or whatever, I think that they can be kind of like these big figures on top of the mountain that you don't really, maybe are a little bit intimidating. But once you get to know them and you talk to them, I think you'd be surprised at how really, really down to earth they both are. And we had a really nice chat with Sam. We talked, SWIC, we talked Nationals, we talked SEC, we talked Rogue, we talked her working on her weaknesses in lifting, and she just couldn't have been much easier. I don't think that I've ever really sat and whenever I see Sam or whatever, it's always in a very busy situation. We see them at the Arnolds, or we see them at Nationals, or we see them wherever it might be. And we catch them and we chat with them for 5 minutes, and we feel lucky to have even that opportunity with them because they're so busy. So it was really nice to sit and have a nice extended chat with her. And like I said, she's just one of the more down-to-earth people that you could hope to talk to. And
It's also just really surprising how kind and friendly they both are, where they certainly don't need to be.
Yeah, they can be as mean as hell if they wanted to be.
They're huge superstars, right?
And
they're just so friendly. And reaching out to Sam, I was so surprised of how
she
encouraging
was
she was.
Yeah, she was super, super nice, super happy to be doing the podcast because she knows that a lot of our listeners are people who are involved in SEC and all that. So, like I said, she was really just really nice to talk to. I really think you guys will enjoy it. I don't think we have anything else to discuss before we get to it.
Nope. Let's go right to it.
Let's get right to the interview. Our very first guest here, as if it wasn't already given away here, she is the 4-time and reigning strongest woman in Canada. She has been on the podium at the Shaw Classic, North America's Strongest Woman, and Clash at the Coast. She won the 2022 Arnold Amateurs and has competed at both the Arnold Classic and the Arnold Classic UK. She currently holds a world record in the circus dumbbell at 185, which she hit not once, but twice. She's the co-owner of Strongman Corp Canada, as well as Maximum Strength and Performance in New Brunswick, and is one half of the world's strongest couple, arguably the stronger of the two.
Yes, hands down.
She is the queen bee of Canadian strongwoman, Samantha Belliveau.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm just I guess I'm riding a really high cloud right now in terms of where everything's heading, in sense of my life or my purposes and everything. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, we're super thrilled to have you. It felt like the perfect time to have you on and just kind of chat with you a little bit. I'm pretty sure that everyone who listens to this knows that Nationals just finished up for you guys. I think that me and Devin and you and Max are part of a very small group of people who can understand and really know the stress, the pressure, the good feelings, everything that comes with running something, well, specifically running Nationals, but running a show that's that size and that caliber and has that many moving parts and that many competitors. So now that you've done it not once but twice, which I think was absolutely insane, twice in 3 years.
Yeah.
What's the feeling now? What's the emotions now that you feel now that it's been a success, it's wrapped up, and everybody's nice and happy?
It's a lot. I mean, honestly, it ran really well in my eyes. It was really great, other than that hiccup in the morning, which we caught on real quick. And timeline, I think we did great. But those were two different shows that we ran. Our first one was kind of let's see what we can pull off. We only had 115 athletes. It was a longer day than this year still, but it was more about like, let's just get people together because that was our first year post pandemic. It was get the community feel together, and it was a lot about the athletes. This one obviously was about the same, but I wanted to be, safe, making sure everyone had equipment, proper equipment in the back. We went a little bit above and beyond for this one.
Yeah.
But the emotions were the same. Obviously, it's always a really great sense of accomplish. And I mean, things do run so different from year to year. Everyone's different. But if we could just see the still like the growth of the community, everyone coming in together, especially bringing Strawman together here in Atlantic Canada, it was nice to see everyone come. Yeah, it was really cool.
Well, it was really
Definitely.
great too because we saw a lot of faces and people from Atlantic Canada that we haven't seen a lot of when things are typically a little
Yeah,
more out west way, right? So we saw a lot of competitors that I was like, these are all brand new people to me. They're new faces, and they were awesome to
yeah.
watch. They were great to see compete,
Dude,
and we
it's
saw,
crazy. Like when I started, just for perspective here in New Brunswick, when I
yeah,
started, they pulled me out of powerlifting because they were in need of a woman to represent New Brunswick. Like at
that's amazing.
nationals, they're like, we need someone to represent. And we hosted New Brunswick this year with 65 athletes and half were women's. Like it's like, 30 like times multiplied since in a
Yeah.
short amount of 5 years. So that growth is crazy here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a
yeah.
place where it makes sense though, because it's like a
Yeah.
very it's a hard nose kind of like the East Coast is not an easy place to live, really. You know what I mean? Like you're very
No.
isolated, you're separated, and it makes
Yeah.
perfect sense that it would breed some very strong, tough people.
Yeah, a lot of like, there's a lot of fishermen here, a lot of people with like ancestors were like they were farmers. Like for me, all my aunts, like I'm from a hometown of like 950 people where like I grew up. It's a bit more now, but like it's super isolated. Like I'm not even like closer to the water. I'm more like into the woods and like
Hmm.
small town and like my aunts, everyone they're all farm people. They're all people that used to live out on tobacco farms or like animal farms, whatever it was. So like there is some people here that don't even know their own strength, right? Like I'm
Yeah,
just like one of them that came out of it and hope to inspire everyone around me. But it's cool. And then if you look back, like we had like still some really strong strongman back in the day to come out of Atlantic Canada. And
definitely.
yeah. So there is a history still here. Like there's a small town where I went to high school. They want us to put a show on because they said 30 or 40 years ago they were able to sell out the strongest man of Buktush and it sold out an arena. So I'm like, fuck, let's bring
Amazing.
that back. Yeah,
That's awesome. That's so
yeah,
cool. Yeah, and like you said, you're trying to do what you can to try to grow the sport and inspire people, and clearly it's
hmm
working because we're
yeah,
seeing, you want to talk specifically about the female presence, and especially the lighter women this year.
yeah.
The those lighter categories were populated in a way that they haven't been yet, and it was really really awesome to see. We want to see some of these little like powerhouses, these mighty mouses
I
come out,
know.
and they did it in a big
50,
way this year.
57 kilo our first year. I
Yeah,
remember we only had, I think, two girls because I think my third trophy, that's the one that was stayed behind. And then the second year, we had three or four. And I was like, damn, like, and like, they're not really popular in international scenes. So I'm like, how much do we daggle? Do we push the
hmm
smaller girls just to go up to 64? Like, obviously, we had the talk, especially when you're talking about growing the sport. Like, how can we grow it in sense of like, not having too many people, too many weight classes, or that makes
right.
sense, right? So 57 was a question, but this year, no, they blew my mind. They showed up. It was great to see the group. They convinced me that they do belong in their own class, and it's awesome to see. Fuck yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was awesome. It really was
Yeah.
great, and
And
it
then
was
same for 80 and 90. Like, obviously, they were never really questions, but hey, 17 boys in the 80 or
mhm.
90. Like, I think both class had like 16 or 17. That's awesome.
Yeah, very competitive classes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome to see, and like I said, there was you said this yourself. There was like the little hiccup in the beginning of the morning,
Yeah.
but it was corrected so
Yeah.
quickly. It was a very
Yeah.
watchable show. Like we really enjoyed. We were watching the whole time from here in Winnipeg.
The live stream was great. From what I saw, like
Hmm.
I watched the live stream on Friday and a bit of Saturday. It was good. I think there's a lot of potential that could come out of it.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I think the flow throughout the day was after that hiccup was great. I think my biggest upset about the day was obviously the award ceremony and like how like the whole night just really didn't go, I think, at what we I had envisioned. We just put a lot of time and effort and money into the show. Like we put a
Yeah, sure.
lot of fucking money back out in the show. I'm not gonna, so, and it was just a lot of like we wanted you guys to have like look at how amazing the lobster traps look around the
Yeah.
implements on like we really wanted that like East Coast stuff feel and like the lobster on Saturday night. I think that brought a little kind of nice to feel to it, and those were just really important to me. And I hope that
Mhm.
the at least you appreciate that.
I'm sure they do, and that was something that
Mhm.
I appreciated as a spectator was the very East Coast flavor of the whole thing,
Mhm.
where you had the lobster traps and even the trophies were like the lobster things. And I
Yeah,
really hope that's something that say like next year when it's in the Calgary area, I really hope they maintain that and really have like a Western vibe to it. You know what I mean? Or when it's
yeah,
in BC,
yeah,
get a real BC vibe to it, whatever that might mean. And I think that
yeah.
would be a really interesting way to keep everything feeling like
I
very
love that.
unique and individual.
Yeah, that was important to me, especially being an East Coast girl. I'm like, fuck, how often are we gonna come back here? I'm like, let's make it nice. And
Right.
yeah, it was cool. I mean, everyone had fun. I had a lot of feedback. Like people were really happy, and it was a really ran well show. The weights were good. Athletes keep surprising me. I thought, frig,
Yeah.
like, some events, like I think the arm over arm, we kind of had a hiccup there. I think we got into our heads a little bit Thursday night when the athletes were testing, and then we just took one trap off out of everyone, and that kind of put it that much too light.
Mhm.
But it kind of kept everyone fresh and on their toes. I mean, that strongman,
Sure. Yeah.
it
It's
could have been
constantly
a
changing.
worse hiccup than too light, Like
Yeah.
I've gone to shows like at international shows, Clash on the Coast, where I hit or where I finished second at the 82. It was supposed to be bag toss, and venue got changed to like a pavement, so we had to do sandbag to shoulder,
Mm.
completely different event.
Yeah. No, it's not
And
even
we found
similar.
out the
Yeah.
day of, so I'm like to have a lighter, and we did get a lot of people say that it was like unfortunate, but I mean it happens, and we're sorry, but it is what
Yeah.
it is.
And I mean, and that's the thing is that if you're talking about a Clash of the Coast, which at that time was like the highest level weight class show that there was. So if it can
Mhm.
happen there, you got to prepare for it to happen anywhere
Mhm.
because it happens at all levels. You know what I mean? Like it's a
Exactly.
really yeah, it's part of the sport. It's part of the fun of strongman is that it's constantly keeping you on your toes like that.
Yeah.
Um, so one thing yeah, we're sorry, we're talking about the national stuff. When you were taking it on and you were like, okay, we're going to do this again in 2024 after having done it in 2022. Um, you're also just open to gym out there. You just open Maximum Strength and Performance out there, which looks like an amazing facility from everything I see about it.
Mhm.
Looks like great gym.
Thank you.
Um, you're taking on a lot all at once. Not to mention the fact that you and Max are both competing very regularly. You're both doing these high level shows. How do you balance that? Like, how do you make that work?
I know.
Or do you? Do you
Honestly,
balance it?
yeah, honestly, like it's been very hard. Like honestly, like and also like I think like Max and I like are still like when we took on all of this together, like we started our business because it was at 2020 where all the gyms and stuff closed down. That's where we really pushed ourselves to start our businesses. And then after the pandemic, it was Strongman Core and then our gym. So we took on a lot as our relationship was young. So we've had to like found ourselves as a relationship through these companies that were growing
Yeah.
and flourishing. And I think though it's like it's the best thing that could have happened. It's like a beautiful storm that's brewing and it's still friggin' brewing, but it's like starting to like make sense. Especially after nationals this year, which was like a big path on the back. Like we pulled off a 165 athlete show in a very
Yeah.
respectful time. I know it felt long for some athletes, but you got to think when you're going to every other
Oh
international show of
yeah.
200 plus athletes, it's going to be a longer show. We had a lot of equipment. We just those things that like it was safe. And those things are super important. So just being able to like bring those things to the people that are helping and supporting us through these journeys and through these phases in our lives, it makes it worth it. It's a
Yeah.
very big part of who we're becoming. But we're finding it fun and finding ourselves within. So it's good.
That's great to hear. Yeah, and it's also worth
Yeah.
pointing out too. If you want to go on to those bigger shows, like say the Arnold Ams, or you want to go to OSG or whatever, you're going to be waiting. Those are long ass days.
Mhm.
And at least when you're at amateur nationals in Canada, your friends are all there. You kind of know everyone you're competing with. You're there, Max is there. Like you
Yeah.
guys are the ones running the show. When you go to OSG, you're not going to have that as many familiar faces there, and you're going to have to be able to sit there and just be like
No.
focusing in the zone and whatever for a long, long ass day.
Yeah. I know, and that's
Um,
the one thing too. I find like Canadians were so nice. So like at nationals, like I've had a lot of people say like so and so's not fucking paying attention. He's not, and like and I've had people like just putting their headphones on and someone would tap them and say go, but like you gotta be ready. Like you gotta know what's
mhm.
going on with because Canadians were nice. We're like, hey, it's your turn, it's your turn. But at international
Yeah.
shows, they blow that whistle, you're gone.
You're gone. You're
Like,
done. And yep. And we saw it a couple
like
times at OSG last year and the Arnold too, where guys just miss their turns and it's brutal. Like,
and you pay all that money to be there, be present. And
mhm,
that's why we're like we did have a really good system. Like we I think we pulled it off better than I've had it in the past. And like just having like that three people system where it's like the three on deck, three there, and like you have them ready. So you're chasing a little bit of ahead of time.
sure.
Caught us some time there and to be ready. Mackenzie and Jocelyn were pulling a really good system there, which I think will be great because we can obviously get that better for Calgary next year. But yeah, I mean athletes just need they're better though. I think honestly, like I say, like there was a lot, like people were flowing in, they were present. Like I think the athletes are getting a lot better at like
Yeah,
knowing how to run a show as an athlete too. And I
sure.
think that's something that's like important. It's like you guys like give us feedback. It's good to give athletes feedback too. Like athletes, you guys were like for the most part, like it was going and flowing. Like when we did that record breaker, I don't know if you paid attention, but like I had seated all the athletes like in their order and they were just like
Hmm.
heading out, heading out. So we
Yep.
weren't fucking the dog. Like it was like it has to be like that. And like honestly, like sometimes like I feel like I sound like the bad guy there, but like if someone's not doing it, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
shit show. And you're
Yes.
gonna be waiting. Literally, like if someone's like if everyone's starting to put their wrist wrap on when their time is up on the or starting to they should be ready and starting to I don't know, like get the log
Yep.
ready. Like you need to be there ready ahead of time.
Yeah, man.
Because that extra 15, 30 seconds goes a long fucking way though.
Dude, if you do if you're on a 20-person show, that time adds up. Now talk about a 150 person plus show.
Yeah,
If we have 5 events and everyone takes 10 seconds longer than they need to, that
yeah,
really adds time at the end of the day when we're all
yeah,
kind of at that point where it's
yeah,
like, let's get this fucking done.
yeah.
Um,
There's
But it
yeah,
was
also
good.
not a
Like,
right amount of
yeah.
pressure. Because, like, if
But
you don't put enough pressure on your athletes to get going, it's like you're going to be the bad guy.
yeah,
You're going to
yeah,
keep people waiting,
yeah,
or you're going to be forcing them too much.
yeah.
So
yeah,
you're always going to be the bad guy,
You got to
anyways.
find that balance. And I think it's good to have these opportunities for our competitors who aren't in the New Brunswick area or who maybe aren't around you. And like, so us in the SEC group chat, so we talk to you guys all the time. But a lot of these people, like, they kind of see you guys as like these like huge figures in strongman, which you guys are. So it's good for them to come there and see you and be around you and realize that even if you're kind of being sharp with them and saying like you gotta get ready to go, it's in their
mhm,
best interest. You're trying to help them. You're trying to be their friend.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're trying to prepare them for whatever the next stage of their strongman career might be.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why we try to put national as tight as possible and as strict as possible. And like when they do want the weights at like we I try to put out the weights at 12 weeks out, and if it's at 11,
Hmm.
well like not every international show will be like that either.
Yes.
So you need to make sure that you're a very chill person in a sense
Yep.
of like if you have a question, because I've had like so many questions in the last 4 days about this, but like if you have a question about another federation, may your best interest maybe message that federation because
Right.
like we might not have all the answers in the
Right.
book. Like Max and I are still figuring this shit out. Like I don't
Sure.
know anybody else's shit, right? Like if you have a specific question about official strongman games or PSL or another show, like I'm still figuring out Strongman Core Canada.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
if you're
Of
asking
course.
me a question, there's like I don't have all the answers to everything. So that's
Yeah.
super important too. Like, why didn't I get this and so invite? Well, I don't know. They might not have sent their invites yet.
Right.
Like
But
I can
I
message
think,
them again. Like I send out the second I get my score sheets, they're out. All my
yeah,
results are out. They know who qualified. They are now you are under their federation as like an athlete and they'll invite you to their show if that makes
yeah.
sense.
But
But
I think
anyways,
maybe in a positive way, it really speaks to how people see you as like the mom of
Yes,
Canadian
yes,
strongman. You know what I mean? Because
yes.
it's strong woman, whatever it might be, is
Mama.
that they know mama has all the answers, so they're gonna go,
I
they're gonna hit
know.
you up, and they're gonna try, and it's if I guess
I
it's
know,
there's
but
plus and minus to it, whatever, right? But
yeah, I know, I
um,
know, and it's all yes, but it gets to like a lot, like
it's
just
a
because
lot,
like
yeah,
I know that we're creating really strong-minded people though everywhere, and like there is starting to become such a community everywhere where everyone's starting to help each other out and guide each other, and it's great in that sense too. And um, but yeah, I think it's awesome that I've been given that kind of weird gift of like being able to direct people and motivate people, and like I don't know what happened that I was given this gift, but it's cool that like you just said that about how like mama and stuff like, and it's such a powerful thing that I'm like I'm trying to help everyone out to just become like as successful as they want, and if they just want to compete for fun, well, we'll do the damn thing for fun and
yeah,
whatever they want. So yeah,
yeah. You're the nice mom, and Max is the
I
scary
kind of
dad.
laughed there a little bit, sorry.
It's all good. This is what
He's
we're
the
here. That's
scary
exactly
mom.
what we're here for. So obviously we can't go past that weekend without talking about what happened on Friday, which was the strongest woman in Canada, which was it's always such a great event to watch. We have such amazingly talented women in Canada right now. Um, and I've said it before a couple times on the show that when we talk about like the scope of Canadian strongman, like we hear a lot about say you and Mel because you guys are doing those big shows.
Hmm.
But someone like Jackie Oshevsky, Sam Moffat, like these are people who are really, really, really good at this sport and are right behind what some of you guys are doing on those bigger stages. And they're like Jackie O is just like awesome what she's doing right now. I love watching her compete.
I think it's so cool to see the growth in women's and strongman in Canada, because if you look at like before COVID, when I first started, before this like kind of dip, we had a big group out west. There was a big even in Quebec, it was big. So there is so much strong women's in Canada, and now it's kind of like rising again.
Hmm.
Jackie's at the top of her game, and it's great to see even like Jose and Steph, and there's a lot of girls that are coming up. Jocelyn O'Brien, like
Yeah, Josh
she's
was awesome
done quite
too.
a great year.
Hmm.
So it's cool, yeah, and to be able to do this with Mel too at like the Arnold and Rogue stages is sweet, because I remember when I first started that I was like, damn, she's strong and mighty, and I
Yeah.
did look up to her. So it's cool to be able to do this with her.
Well, and it's interesting too because we often use like when I'm describing strong woman to new women who might be interested in the sport, they see me, they see like say Andrew Langela, they see these big
Mhm.
guys that are performing the sport, and then we look at say like the pro stage of women, you see like Inez, you see Rebecca Roberts. These are huge women that are just like real like really like just really really big, and
Mhm.
it's great to see that there's still an opportunity for you who could be a U82, I believe, right? Is where you tip,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then say Mel too, who could be in the U82 class, still hanging perfectly well with these open women, like showing that you don't have to be a giant to be successful in the sport and still take it to the giants.
No, definitely. And I didn't think that's where my path was going, because I'm down 50 pounds since I started strongman. So I got my Canadian pro card first as an open before middleweight.
Mm,
And then I went and got middleweight at the Arnold when I won in 2021. But I am like I feel like I'm way stronger, more agile, better, and more explosive than ever at this body weight. I just had to find where I was stronger, like body weight wise. But for me, yeah, I think being able to keep up with women's that are, like you said, a good fifth, some are like 100 and some pounds heavier than us. So like, yeah, body weight moves mass, but Mal and I are explosive and very
yes.
powerful. We're able to keep up. And I think it's cool that we're able to showcase both strength and power, because
Yeah.
still, if you look at Lucy, that's pulling 700
Sure.
pounds,
Yeah.
like
Great example.
whatever, like the body weight, it doesn't give a fuck. She pull,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So I
Yeah.
think there's both body weight, like both classes. Obviously, all classes are super great to see, but it's cool that we're able to, yeah, and both Canadians. I think it's cool.
And I think too, what you guys bring to the table as well is the speed and athleticism and power, but also really strong technique. Like you guys are really good lifters. Like especially like we think about like your circus dumbbell record. Like it was those were two perfect like circus dumbbell reps, which is why you
Yeah.
got that record. You know what I mean? Why when nobody else was able to get a single one, you
Yeah,
got a
and I
double.
think like I have to like my technique needs to be so fucking good now because
Hmm.
if not, like it just won't move. Like, like I like that circus dumbbell is my body weight at the moment. Like
Sure.
if I want to one hand press my own body weight, like I need to be explosive and move well. I need the timing needs to be perfect. So like obviously those little techniques are things that you have to work hard on and but that's what I have to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
And it
hmm
works, obviously. So
Deadlift too, I guess. Like deadlift, I hadn't PR in over 5 fucking years, man, because I lost all this weight, right? And
hmm
I had a pelvis injury, blah blah blah. But still, it took me so much to get back to where I was when I weighed 230. So um now yeah, I'm back. Like I finally found where my strong stand is at this body weight and finally getting my deadlift back up. But um, yeah, you just got to work on technique and the little things. Be patient.
so
Smaller athletes got to be patient because like
yeah,
we're not going to be adding 20, 30 pounds every other month to any lift.
no,
So
no, and
Why
that's
not?
that's
I
so true.
fucking know it sucks. Like I'm
But let's
like literally on my circuit dumbbell at one point I was adding like a pound like every other week and I was like 1 fucking pound. But it is what it
yeah,
is.
it is a. But as long as there's progression in the right direction, that's all we need, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we know that the deadlift has been an event with that you struggle. Excuse me, an event that you've struggled with a little bit in the past. So when you're trying to come up with something that's going to be like competitive on a world level, like what do you do? Like we don't have to get into like the nitty gritty of your programming or whatever, but what's just some of the methods that you use to push something that's been like lacking for you a little bit?
Oh fuck, it's been hard. Like it's hard because you try not to like I obviously want to like I want to PR my deadlift and I work so fucking hard on it, but there's always that like thought behind your head. I'm like, even though I'm PRing, I'm not even adding 1 point to my standings. Okay.
Right.
So there's that little thought of like, fuck, it's hard mentally. So I think this year
Sure.
I just had to like literally go get that thought in my head and
Hmm.
like work on like how to use that thought within my training. So it's all mental now for me,
Yeah. No,
deadlift.
I love
It's
that.
like
Yeah.
I know how to fucking deadlift. Like I've been deadlifting for 10 fucking years. Not that I
Right.
know, not that I know technically perfectly. Do you know what I mean? But
But you
yo,
know the movement. Yeah.
yes, and I'm a coach. Like I know how to teach like a basic fucking deadlift. But when I'm talking about, I've hit obviously my max at my body. Now it's like adding 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 5 pounds,
Mm.
right? So it's a little greedy now, like at the top of my peak. So obviously it was like, fuck, what do I do next? And yeah, it's just a lot of mental work now for me on deadlift and just drilling the movement twice a week, all the week, just showing up and just putting the numbers that my coach puts down. And
Yep.
I do a lot of like, yeah, different types of deadlifts, reverse bands, some slower deadlifts, some speed deadlifts. I deadlift twice a week now. I am hitting a PR in 2 weeks in Scotland. I am just
Fuck yeah.
finally, yeah, there's that. So we have like a 9 bar ladder kind of style.
Hmm.
Haven't really focused on the rules and stuff for that one because I'm just like, get strong. Don't fucking matter the rules. Don't. So I don't even know. But I just saw that we have 9 bars and we get to do 3 bars. And the third bar is 545, which would be a 10 pound PR
Perfect.
ever. So I'm like, that would be awesome. Yeah.
That's what I like that because I'm really interested in sort of like the like you said, you know how to deadlift. You know how
Yeah.
to get stronger in general, you
Yeah.
know all that stuff. But when there's something that's been like historically an issue for you with points, where it's like the mental aspect behind it is what I find really interesting when it's an athlete at your level where it's like
Yeah.
you gotta really dig in mentally and make sure that you are able to progress it. You know, I think
Yeah. And
that's
I
I think a
think
lot of people would be interested to hear that.
yeah. So mentally, like, obviously, like, we go through struggles with some lifts all the time, which is like, I used to like this movement so much, and now it's like, it's just not going well. Like when I first started, I used to pull 5 plates all the time with max, no strap, no belt, and I would do a triple or 5 reps. Now, like for me, like 5 plates is like, strap, belt, like need to make sure my work forms good. I just used to be very like brutally strength at a lot heavier body weight. So like
Mhm.
now it's like everything needs to be perfect. But like I think mentally, like the biggest struggle was just like you're not doing this. Like I know I'm not gonna win the deadlift event,
Right.
and I know that it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, like if I finish mid pack or whatever. Like all I can do from now is literally on myself work me and the deadlift together to go up.
Sure.
Like, because like I'm obviously already last fucking place, move up and add 5 pounds for yourself. And next thing you know, you might add 2 points to your standings.
Right.
Like all like so taking that pressure off my deadlift day was like the hugest thing I could have done. Now I
That's
get into
awesome.
fucking deadlift day and I'm like, I can just get stronger. Might as well get fucking stronger. So
Right.
like
That's
taking
awesome.
that little pressure and like people think like, oh, how do you have so much pressure? Well, I mean, like when I go to the Arnolds and Rogue, there's a lot of fucking eyes on us. Like now
Yeah,
with
man.
Storm Corp, there is a lot of eyes on us. Like there is some pressure that comes with when the fuck I'm training and I'm competing and like every time I fail in the gym, it's literally some pressure. But like being able to remove some pressure is what I fucking needed this year to like be able to, whew, you're an athlete, have fun,
Right.
get
Right.
fucking stronger. It's cool to
Right.
get strong. And yeah,
That's so great to
yeah,
hear. That's awesome. That's awesome that you found
yeah,
that kind of like next step for
yeah.
yourself. That's fantastic.
Mhm,
Before we get too far from it, I wanted to go talk a little bit more about Swick too,
mhm.
because you're wearing the shirt. You got the Rogue coming up, the Rogue
Max's
Invitational.
shirt, yeah,
Oh, Max's shirt. Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
looks great. So we but and I think a lot of people might have expected that maybe Swick wouldn't be in the cards for you with Rogue being so close. That's it's one of the bigger shows of the year, but I think it's really a testament to how important Swick is, how important like Canadian strongwoman is, not just in general, but to you specifically. That it's not something that you can just be like, well, I have this big show over here, so I can't do this one over here. And I think that that's going to be a big like because Max will say the same way with CSM too. And I think that things like big athletes like you guys making decisions like that to stay as involved as you do with the Canadian scene is what's really going to help the Canadian scene in the long run and help make Swick a very big deal as we move forward.
Yep, that's exactly it. That's what I'm trying to do. Honestly, I just had a podcast yesterday and they were or 2 days ago and they were saying the same thing like you competed a lot like before going into Rogue this year and blah 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 and stuff and like that's exactly what I'm just trying to do. Like honestly, like I love representing Canada so much and like for me growing up like I come from a small town that like you represented like New Brunswick, it was a big deal and like being
Mhm.
able to go to strongest women in Canada for me and holding that title and being able to be recognized as that like just means truly so much to me and like and I want other women's out there to be inspired to become one day. And I think that's why I pulled out of the Shaw Classic, was able to be able to give me that extra break after North Americans to give me bang 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 to finish off with Swick, Rogue, and then OSG.
Yeah.
There was it was in the plan. We wrote the goals down. I knew that hosting was gonna be also like a little factor in there with like comes like the stress and like fatigue and stuff. But now
Right.
that it's all done and over, I feel great and I have two more shows and yeah, I plan on just really representing well Canada and that's kind of like my goal at the end of the day is just mhm, show up for Canadian girls.
That's awesome. Because
Mhm.
we like Mel Peacock around here, but we like Sam because she's just someone that we see at the on the scene a little more. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
jokingly call her Mitch Peacock, but that's whatever. We there's it's two different approaches to the same thing, right? But
Yes. Yeah.
here, check it out. What's up? Look at this.
Watch your head.
Ah, hi. How am I doing? Hi.
She says good. All right.
Oh my god, it was in her mouth.
All right. I just want to show you that real
Blubber
fast.
everywhere.
So while we're on the topic, let's get into the Rogue a little bit here. So, the first time that they're doing the women to match the men's events at the Rogue,
Yeah.
so that's got to be
Oh,
exciting. It's got to be like
nerve-wracking.
yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, it's got to feel that way, right?
No fucking
Um,
shit. Yeah, I finished. Yeah, honestly, because like I've been to Rogue, like I saw Max go twice. Like I was at Rogue. I
right.
know what it's a big deal. I know,
Hmm.
and then now they're bringing us. It's like what the fuck? And then yeah, so I'm excited, but I'm like this is a big deal.
Yeah, and like huge audience.
Yeah,
Like one of the biggest for sure.
yeah,
Not only like in the stream, but just like in the building live watching you. It's a huge
yeah,
audience there. Their CrossFit competition they have draws a huge fucking crowd.
yeah.
The strongman is
We're in
drawing its own crowd
Scotland.
too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's in a whole new place for you. Have you been to
yeah.
Scotland before?
No, but
Oh, that's
Strongman
exciting.
is so big over there. They just sold out the open not sold out, but like the open show was a huge fucking show. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be big.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really awesome to watch. I'm really excited. The
Yeah.
the, the crowd that we saw at the Giants live that they just had there was just
Yes.
so electric. They were so into it, and I can't
Yes.
even wait for it to be even
Exactly.
bigger and more. So it's going to be awesome.
Hmm.
And as a cool thing with this, with the women being added, matching the prize pool that the men get.
It's sick.
Um, yeah, which is like a big prize pool. Like it's
I
really awesome.
know.
I just looked at the numbers before I got you on here, and there's big prizes. There was like 100 something thousand dollars for first place.
And that's US.
Oh, well, there you go. It's
Oh,
even so it's
hell
like
yeah.
$300,000 in our money or something like that. But
It's like $1 million. You win any cash prize in US, you're like, I'm rich.
they've been kind of like they haven't released a lot of very specific, at least to the public, a lot of really specific information on the events. They've been kind of like, this is
They
the name of
released
the
it,
events,
I
and
think.
they released the events, but I don't think they got really too much into the details of like what
Oh,
each thing
okay.
exactly is. So they
Okay.
have, say, like the what was I looking at earlier? Oh, maybe they did release more here. GM found something better than what I was looking at. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, never mind. Forget that. I'm an idiot. But if I'm looking at the 5 events here, or sorry, 6 events, excuse me.
Yeah.
What's one or two or whatever, or there's more, there's more. But where you feel like you can really show up and do some damage at a show like this, because there's a lot of like athleticism involved in this one compared to some of the other ones that we see at like the Arnold's or whatever, where it's just a big, heavy, like grinding sort of show. This one's a little
Yeah,
different.
I know. It was really different and heavier and lighter at places that I didn't expect. Like we didn't get our weights till like almost maybe three, 4 weeks ago. Like we didn't
Mhm.
get some specific weight. So I was like, oh, okay, shit, I was training way too heavy, or okay, no, we're doing well. So I think one that I'm really ready for and I could do really well would be the yoke to power stairs.
Agreed.
It's a 600 yoke to 3 power stairs. The heavier one being 325. So very confident there. That'll be a good run. I think it's gonna come to like, I mean, it's light for everyone too, so you never know. Like,
Right.
I don't know. The overhead medley at the end of the day will be good. We'll see. I think I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
The power drive medley. It all depends how everything feels. Like I didn't train with a hail bale. I don't know if I can roll that thing,
But
but
if we
I'm
look at
gonna
say like
try.
the yeah, hell yeah, you are. If we look at like the yoke into the power stairs, there's a lot of opportunities there for someone who's athletic. There's a lot of transitioning. There's a lot of moving between implements and
Well,
stuff.
yeah, and it kind of reminds me of the power medley, the giant medley we had in the UK, which I
Yeah.
won, the yoke to dumbbell. I mean, okay,
Hmm.
sure, circus dumbbell being my thing, but I think power stairs I'm half decent. I mean, I haven't done them in a
Yeah.
comp since 2018, but
Really, it's been
I
that
did.
long?
Yeah, my first national that I won in Waterloo as an amateur. I haven't done them back since then, but yeah.
Wow.
No,
Awesome.
I
Okay.
trained with Max. Max told me I was okay. So he told me I was good. So
That's somebody you
yeah,
want to, yeah, that's
yeah.
good vouching
I
for.
was
If
training
someone,
with
if,
three. I had a 385 that I was doing for triples at before they released the weight. So I was like, okay,
goddamn.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. So yeah, so both you guys are good at power stairs. That's fucking awesome.
yeah,
Um, okay, so that's awesome to hear about all that. I know that we're going to be really, really excited to watch that. We're really looking forward to seeing how you and Mel
yeah,
do in that one. So what I want to talk to you a little bit about too is just to go kind of to take it back a little bit more to more Canadian stuff. When we're talking about SCC,
mm,
so the growth that we've seen, I mean, like I'm old enough to be have been competing before SCC, and I know you are too. But we like you were doing like CASA back in the day, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So that's what I started with too. And CASA felt like it was really headed somewhere, and then it kind of just hit some snags and some road bumps that didn't end up doing what it was supposed to do. So what do you see for the future of SCC? Like, what do you see as it being like because it's seen phenomenal growth. We just had 2 more people added to the rep thing today, where they're running shows, and I think it was Northern Ontario or something, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
we have people like BC is like has an incredible amount of athletes. Like, what do you want for the future of SEC? I know that's kind of a big question, but just in general, you know?
I think honestly, in general, I just want athletes to be able to compete and for something bigger than like up and like I want them to have opportunities, but I also want them to feel really fulfilled when they compete at a stage where we can literally put it at such a high standard. Like I just want athletes to be able to get paid and be able to know that like I have a top chance at the podium that my accommodations can actually come square with me, or I
Sure.
might get a little bonus, or because like we put so much work into this sport for having so little towards us. And I feel like I'm speaking like I know that I do get to go at these bigger shows, but as like an amateur, like you don't get anything back and you pay into the federations and you pay your
Hmm.
equipment, your belts. Like even if it's like top threes of like, at your regional shows, we could like hook you up with from head to toe from a sponsor for like equipment.
Sure.
Damn, those belts are not cheap nowadays. Like, I
Hmm.
just want to make sure that the athletes are able to like afford and have fun doing the sport like at equally. We just got to get there. But I think with our growth in Canada and then the growth that I now see in the States, I think we're going to collide at one point and it's going to become very large. I
Yeah.
can see doing like some sort of like, yeah, a big North American show where it's Canada versus US, and we just like I know that US has like this like growth that is like has been, yeah, I mean, they've been growing for so long under like two federations. And I know that like with Strongman Corp in the States, like it's like, yeah, I mean it's perfect for us to kind of to collide with them and just keep growing in Canada. But yeah, so I mean it's crazy to think like what's the future because we just started, but like we've already taken such a big step in like
Yeah.
these short amount of years. And it's amazing to see everyone wanted to be involved and the volunteers and like even like photographers from around Canada want to come and capture the sport. And we're doing interviews throughout all these podcasts and like and, like even the TV news and stuff. Like Strawman is like starting to pay or starting to like grasp a lot of community's attention, and because it's an entertainment sport, people like to do something on Saturdays and go out with their
Hmm.
family and watch people do weird shit. And I think we just gotta yeah, keep showing up and keep supporting one another, and the sport will just keep growing.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth, like you talk about the growth that's happened in only a couple of years since the inception of Strongman Corp Canada. Like if people weren't around, it might be worth looking up or trying to look up some of the photos of some of those nationals from like before COVID. Say like the first one that I did was like 2016, I think, and it was just held in somebody's gym. And like God bless them for doing it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
say that that's just where the scene was, but it
yeah,
was like, there was probably like there was definitely less than 100 people competing, probably less than 75 people competing, a very, very small women's divisions. And it, like I said, it all fit in somebody's gym.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So to see the kind of progression and growth that we have now where, you guys are having these like it was like the Thunder Bay Coliseum and like,
yeah.
the
An
Winter
arena
Armory, these
show.
huge, you
Yeah,
need to have huge buildings to host this stuff. And
yeah,
there's so many options and divisions and stuff. That's just not something that was happening when closer to when you or I were starting. So it's pretty amazing to see. And it's hard to imagine since it's only been a short period of time, how much growth there's been, like where we could be in 5 years, or even if you look further,
yeah.
like 10 years, you know?
Yeah, I know it's cool. Um, I sat back at like the Coliseum at one point and like while the show was running, and I could see like the huge live stream guys set up upstairs, and then we had like an expo going on as well. So I had a few booths, like people selling like strongman equipment. He was like a,
Hmm.
a welder. He was there selling his products and like these supplement brands and stuff. And like people were like, it was like everyone was just mingling and stuff. And we had a tattoo guy doing some tattoos in a corner. He was busy all weekend,
A
so he
bunch of
had
people
a
got
great
tattoos there.
weekend.
I know one
Yeah,
guy that
like
got a tattoo that weekend.
Yeah.
he could have done like 100 and some tattoos. He said he didn't know what to expect, and it was like overwhelming for him, but it was
Right.
good. But like like just seeing like how it could become like, and I'm
Right.
seeing like bigger and larger, like this is like a mini Arnold where like Canada can
Yeah,
literally
absolutely.
make these expo strongman shows come to life and have like so those badass weekends where we say, okay, twice a year we meet up for nationals and North Americans, okay, and then people just like train all year
Hmm.
for that, and I think that's something that's like, 5, 8, 10 years, but definitely
Yep.
something that's in the future.
I love that. And I always tell this
Mhm.
to people too. It's hard to really like when I'm trying to tell sponsors or whatever, it's hard to really for me to explain to you how loyal the strongman community is to people who get involved in the strongman community.
Yeah.
Like you say, the tattoo guy, he showed up there. He said he could have been tattooing probably from morning till night. Or if you get somebody who starts to sell, whatever it might be at a strongman competition,
Yeah.
people remember that and they want to support the people who support strongman. And I love that
Yeah.
about this community.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, people are very loyal, and that's why it's a very unique community because like we all go through the same shit. We all very loyal to one another, and yeah, I think
Yep.
yeah, I love Strongman. It's awesome.
I love strongman too. That's what a great way to start wrapping this up here.
That's why we
But
do this shit.
that's right. It has to be for love because there's not many other
Fuck.
reasons. Um, one question I wanted to ask you, Sam, before we start to wrap up here, um, what I would love to get from you is somebody, and it can be any competitor, any weight class, anywhere they're from. I don't care. It can be one of your people. It can be somebody else. Who's somebody that people should be paying attention to when it comes to kind of like up and comers on the Canadian scene right now? Who's somebody like whether it's a guy or a girl or whoever that you're like they're going to start turning up some heads pretty soon at whatever level they're like it might be for them.
Oh,
And I'm going to put you on the spot here. I know. And let's also add this that I know there could be a million people. Like I know there could be so many people. So nobody feel butthurt if you get left out or
okay.
anything. But let's just
No,
whoever jumps to your mind.
yeah. It has to be my 64 kilo champion, Melissa Quigley.
Yeah, she had an
Um,
awesome day.
I mean, she had a great day. It's more about like the athlete that she's become in the last like 4 months because she's come from bodybuilding. So she did a lot of like, those eccentric like she is at first,
Mhm.
she didn't know how to be explosive. Like even running, I'm like, you gotta run to your sandbag. Like we really started with her, like she had no like she was not an athlete. Like it was
Right.
so starting from the beginning. And then now like yeah, she was able to stand her own. I think mentally she's very strong. 64 kilo though is a very big weight class when you're talking about internationally. But I
Hmm.
think if I'm looking about like in 3 years and she'll be in your top 10 at OSG. So
All right, you heard it here first,
yeah,
Melissa. It's
yeah,
Quigsley, right? I have that right?
yeah, Melissa Quickly. Yes.
Melissa Quigley. Okay, that's the one to
Yeah,
watch out
I
for in the
mean,
future then.
she's my client, and I'm not buying bias. She trains at my gym and
Hey,
stuff, but like, I honestly think like if you talk about like, there's two people, and your guy did as well. Open men winner.
Langelar, yep.
He wasn't he a novice at the beginning of the year?
Yeah. Yes, he
Like,
was. Yeah.
you don't
Pretty
hear
unreal.
that shit. Like, especially
Yeah,
when we're talking about open men. Like, there's a lot of guys that they've been training for this for 6, 7, 8 years.
sure. Yeah,
Like,
I know.
like he comes in and like, okay, well, boom, 1, 2, 3, and then wins. And I think that's so cool and unique, right? Like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
we're very excited to see what kind of damage he can do this year.
Yeah,
So
cool.
Sam, if I'll do you have anything else that you want to kind of give a shout out to or put out there or anything
No,
else you want to mention?
no, honestly, thank you for having me. But if ever you guys want to, yeah, have another one, like have the fans, I guess, bring in some questions, not fans, but I mean like the athletes from Strongman Core bring in some
Your
questions and
fans,
stuff, and then
Sam,
we
your
can go through.
fans.
Not fans, I'm talking about athletes. Sorry.
Your friends
No,
are
no, no,
your
no.
fans are your friends. Your friends are your family, your family, your friends,
Friends.
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, we can keep the discussion going, but
We would love to do that.
I just want people to know that I'm an open book and we're just trying our very, very best. Like I was thrown this like thing out of a sudden, and we're just doing our best to build the community around helping us build the sport. So yeah,
Awesome.
thank you, thank you.
Hey, thank you. So it's at Sam Belliveau on Instagram, right?
Yes, yep,
Maximum Strength Performance.
yep.
Yep. So make sure you guys follow her if you're not
At
already. I'm
Strongman
pretty sure anybody
Corporation
listens to us
Canada, at
at
Evolution
Strom.
Athletic Canada, at all of
Bang
them.
them out. If you got more, bang them out. I want to hear them all.
No, no, that's it.
Okay.
Also, shout out to Max because I saw Sam kick him out of the room before we started recording.
Yes.
Thank you, Max.
I'm like, bye-bye.
Thanks for being accommodating, Max. We appreciate that. We'll have to talk to him one time on here too if he wants to do it.
Well, he'd love to. He loves to talk.
He's such a chatterbox. You just can't shut the guy up. You know, he's just
like, shut up. Okay. Thank you guys
Sam,
for having me.
We want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on. We really appreciate it. We know that people like hearing all you have to say about the sport. And Deanne, do you have anything you want to add?
Thank you.
No, that was very easy to get a hold of Sam. I was very surprised. I was really happy to see her response.
Okay. And we'll call her.
Dolly says bye also.
Dolly, come say bye. All right.
Jan's gonna get her.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. We really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Belliveau, the queen bee of Canadian strongwoman, 4-time SWIC, one of the nicest people you could hope to talk to. If you haven't done nationals or you haven't been in the same room as Sam before and gotten a chance to talk to her in person, it's really like, I hope this was kind of like illuminating to you that you can see like how much she really, really cares about the sport of strongman. This is not just a business to her. Growing Strongman Corp Canada, growing women's strongman, especially in the country. These are things that just as she talks, you can just feel the passion that she has for it. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope that was fun for you guys. It was really nice for me to sit and talk to her. Don't get many opportunities like that to sit and talk to somebody who's as insanely busy as she is with the Rogue coming up and everything. So make sure you watch the Rogue. Make sure you cheer on Sam Belliveau, Mitch Peacock, our 2 favorite female strong women going today. Female strong women, a little redundant there, whatever.
Female humans.
Female humans, yeah. Female strength competitors in strongman. Anyway, that's the episode for today. 45 minutes just flew by with Sam there. I couldn't believe how easy it was to sit and talk to her there. I'm kind of at a loss here. That was
amazing.
That was simple. Yep.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks so much to Sam Belliveau. Thanks so much for Max for leaving the room. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.